Good morning, and welcome to another inspiring episode of the Good Morning Minute, where we start the day with purpose, passion, and a little bit of power. I'm your host, Angelina Mojica, and today's conversation is part of a special series in partnership with the Empower Her Steps virtual conference, a movement rooted in helping women rise, heal, and walk boldly into the life God has designed for them. Our mission is simple but powerful, empowering life's purpose, because we believe that when a woman finds clarity in her calling, everything changes for her family, her community, and generations to come. So friends, grab your coffee, take a deep breath, and get ready to be uplifted as we dive into real stories, honest lessons, and bold steps towards purpose with our incredible guest today. And our guest today is no stranger to the Good Morning Minute podcast, and she has been a great friend, Franchette. Hello, welcome.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Well, I'm excited to have you back on the show. And for those that don't know you, why don't you just take a moment to introduce a little bit or speak a little bit about yourself?
I'm Franchette, as I've said before, and I'm a small business owner, and I promote empowering women to be the best they can be through business, through just their goals for their families, and just putting their best foot forward.
Awesome. Well, Franchette, I want to say thank you so much for joining us again today. And before we get started into the heart of our conversation, I want to start with a little icebreaker. And so just a fun little question to you. And my question is, what's your favorite way to unwind after a long day?
Normally, I unwind through probably some Baileys on crushed ice. Not that much. I do that and then I start cooking because cooking allows me to put a lot of love into it. So my unwinding is normally making a meal for my husband and I and having just a little bit of Baileys.
I think that's the one thing I miss about being a mom, because like all my kids are grown, so I'm an empty nester. Is the meal at dinner. You know, sometimes you take it for granted when you're doing it, and then when they're all gone, you're like, oh, it's just me and a cat. Okay, what am I going to make?
Yes.
But it's still fun and lots of love for sure.
Yes.
All right, well, let's jump into our conversation, and I'm going to ask you, what was the defining moment of pain or challenge in your life, and how did it impact you?
The challenge and pain was this year, if I'm going to be honest. I had open heart surgery. And so I had to learn how to navigate through that. But a lot of that will come from you, yourself. Family and friends play a major role in it, but a lot of it depends on you. Through the pain, you have to understand that, for better or for worse, in health and sickness, those vows become very seriously when you're put into the situation. And so my husband really stood by me. And I think that's very important because open heart surgery, you don't get over it in 3 months like people think. For me, the recovery is a year. And then it just depends on everybody's body's different. But that pain showed me that I could do almost anything. I just had to rethink now. And as a woman, we sometimes forget that when we have a aha moment, we think that's the end of it. And it's not. It's just the beginning. If you allow God to use your gifts in the way that He's given them to you, other doors open for you. It is your outlook on how you see things. And so for me, I'm still struggling with it. I'm not going to lie, but I can see a clear path. And you just have to have the right people around you to remind you that you're important. But more important than that is that you can do whatever God has set for you to do. And that's what you have to remember: endurance, accountability, a strength, courage. You have to find those things in this cloud of pain. And if you're willing to do that and really dig deep, then you come out smelling like a rose. But if you don't, you stay stuck in the thorns.
I want to take just a moment to kind of highlight a few things that you're capturing just in your story alone. One, the amount of, I don't know, just I want to say pressure, but I don't even think that's the right word, but just open heart surgery. So my mom had heart disease. And so I know the amount of stress the body goes through just in the surgery alone. I mean, your rib cages are being broken apart so they can get to your heart and do what they need to do to repair it, and then you're wired shut. And so just in that alone, like your body can handle so much in that. And yes, the recovery process is a process. I don't think you ever fully restore back to who you were, because again, your body is literally being broken.
Yes. You are a new person. You
Yeah.
actually a new person. And for me, my heart was healthy. So it wasn't even the same as everyone else. I had a healthy heart. Everything about everything was healthy. It was because I did an extra piece of taking care of myself. If I had not did that, then my options, I only had three options, and that was heart attack, stroke, or death. But because I did that extra step in taking care of myself, that's how they found it. Because everything else was perfect. I had no problems nowhere else. So yeah.
Yeah. And so I mean, I want to highlight that in the time of struggle, we
Mhm.
feel like, oh, the pain, you're talking about the pain, and the pain is so overwhelming. It's so um, magnified in that moment, but you still
Yes.
can pull through for sure. Um, and sometimes coming out of on the other side, you have to be broken
Yeah.
in this sense, literally, but you have to be broken in order to understand what, purpose, or, what is going to spin off from this moment. And so for
Mhm.
you, when
Mhm.
did you start sensing purpose on the other side of this situation?
Um, my purpose has never changed. I've always been a person who took care of other people. Being in the military, we have this group called PWOC, and that's for women Bible studies. And so I've been doing that for probably almost 28 years.
Mm-hmm.
So my purpose have always been clear to me. But when you have any type of surgery, such as open heart surgery, you are not the same person. And sometimes people try to go back to who they were before, but you are not. For me, the way that God walked with me was different. The first time I heard about cracking open your heart, I think my second time was from you. God did not allow no one to tell me nothing about the process.
Mm-hmm.
Never brought none of those words into nothing. Every doctor was like, so we have to go in and we have to do ABC. That was it. Nothing really came out of it. But when you are being put back together, you have to remember you're being put back together differently. You don't have the same body that you had before. Your limitations are at a higher risk, because if you don't heal properly, you can have problems. So you have to understand that you're not the same person. One, two, you will be different, but it will be more painful if you don't accept you are not the same person. If you try to go back as Franchetta before, I cannot. I start different on March 17th. It's when my life changed around 2025. So I can't go back to the old me. You have to take where you are right now and see how you take this new purpose. What level do you go to next? Because your purpose takes a different level, but you have to be willing to accept it. Right now, I'm fighting with it, but I'm going to accept it. But I'm being honest. I'm fighting it, but at the same time I'm fighting it, I am accepting it. And that's that main point. You have to understand you're going to fight some things, but you are going to still be accepting it so that you can move to the next level. For me, because of my walk, when I walk with Christ, it's different for me. Everybody's walk will be different. It can be business wise, it can be being a mother, it can be so many different things, but you have to accept that change is there. You have to accept that change. And if you don't, then you're going to be in more pain than you were when you had the surgery, because you're going to be fighting everybody, everything. You're going to be fighting. You're going to feel like you're by yourself. You're going to feel anxiety. You're going to feel depression because you're trying to be the old person when you have been made new.
Mm. Ooh, and I feel just in that, I can feel the Spirit of God, and just because it's true. So you can't pour old wine, you can't pour new wine into old skin. You have to have,
No.
the new skin. So
Yes.
that's what's coming to mind. But I mean, man, you're speaking so profoundly in just how we try to fight against, the change, whatever that is for anybody out there listening,
Yes.
how we try to make things fit into a cookie cutter when life is not a cookie cutter situation. We have to be able to open up and be accepting of the things that need to happen in our lives, whether that's physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in
Yes.
order for us to stretch and grow and become the new person that we are meant to be, to activate the new level of
Yes.
purpose. Because
Yes.
you're right, purpose does elevate over time.
Yes. But it can't stay the same. It can't stay the same. That's the point. People think when you have an operation, or no matter what it is, you change jobs, you have a baby, that, oh, I'm the same. And if you're not the same when you look in the mirror, you have a problem with it. But that's a blessing. You should not be the same. Every year you should elevate. If you're walking in your purpose, you're going to have to close some doors so that you can get the next level, the next blessing, the next goal, the next promotion. If you don't do that, you stay here, and then it's anxiety, it's depression, it's my back hurt, my neck hurt. Well, it's because you're trying to sit in a circle when now you are a square. So that's why, because it's not going to fit. But you have to first admit there is a change. You have to admit that first, that it is a change. If you admit that first, you're supposed to go through a little bit of the mountain, as they say. You go through some heartbreak, some unforgiveness, and this. But if you look on this side, you see grace, mercy, humility, forgiveness. You see these things, but you have to go through the mountain of life. You have to go through the mountain of open heart surgery. For me, I have to go through it, because if I don't, I'm still not the same Franchette I was up until March 17th. It does change you. You have to be willing to take the change of pain. And pain comes different in every different way. It doesn't have to be an operation. It can be your kids are leaving the house. It could be a loss of a child. How do I go on? It can be a divorce. It can be, I'm going to be at peace and stillness. What type of pain it is. But remember, that pain is a positive pain. That's what we forget. It's not a negative pain. It is a positive pain to allow you to grow. And if you understand that, then your vocabulary change, your eyesight change. Spiritual eyes come into, spiritual ears come into play. You hear, you walk, you see things differently when you accept your pain with the change.
And that's so true. And it's also, I mean, I think of a butterfly, coming out of a cocoon. I mean, you can be wrapped up in the comfort. Again, you're stretching outside of your comfort zone. And yes,
Yeah.
there's the growing pains in that as well. What was the shift in your outlook? So like you went through this traumatic surgery, this life-changing surgery. What was the shift that happened for you?
I say this, death walked me across to life. That was my change. Death walked with me, and not the death that people think. It wasn't my death made sure I understood that I had to walk across this way. I was going back to life, because people had come to me and said, promise me that you will come back. So I had to make that promise. And I had to make that promise because of my faith. So death walked me across to life. I didn't, it made sure that I didn't have no confusion of what direction I needed to go. It was to go come back because I had walked on faith. I had believed. And so I had made these promises that I talked to God about. So he was like, you've made these promises. I'll show you what I will do. But I'm going to make sure you get across and make sure that your partner be this person. And this person happened to be death. And death walked with me to make sure I didn't get it confused. I was going one way when I was supposed to be going forward with the change. That's the difference. But everybody has a certain walk differently. And it's not like death, like people say, well, it was death and I came back. It's not that. You got to understand spiritually what that looks like. And it's not someone dying and coming back. It's a walk with the conversation of death, that they're having a conversation with you saying, yes, you promised these things, so you have to keep them. So let's just go ahead and get you back so you can come out, go back in, come back out, come back in, come back out of the anesthesia. Now you fully woke. That's it.
Hmm. And that's, man. I feel like there's there's so much in the in between of what you're saying too, and I want to dive into everything. Like it's such a good conversation, but I know we don't have to dive into everything. But wow, so in those moments of just kind of talking in this spiritual light of, you've got these promises, you've got these things that you've got to get back to. You're not done yet. There's still purpose left for you to fulfill, right? And there's going to be a newness in that purpose. What was that profound, like when it's all coming? And I know you're still walking through it and you're still trying to come to fully accepting the newness of it. Like, what was it? Like, was there a difference in mindset? Was there a difference in focus? Like, what was it for you?
My focus stayed the same because for me, my focus had always been, my spiritual side was good. The human side was not. It had to come to grips to change. And that's what you have to be balanced on both sides. You can't go halfway in and have one part of you left behind. You have to go in as one. You can't go in as split, if that makes sense. So you can't walk halfway, well, I'm going to do right on this side, but I'm going to still do this on this side. You can't do that. So for me, I knew what my walk was. I knew the purpose was still the same. The thing was that I had people around me to remind me that you have to close some doors. And some things I really had to let go of that I wasn't willing to, but it was time for me to, in order to truly grow into the next level of what God had for me. And so I'm still fighting it, but I'm going to be obedient. Okay. And that's a spiritual walk. But say, for example, you were going into business and it's time for you to leave the company, but you don't want to leave because you want to stay, but the boss is still treating you bad. That's a hint sometimes that it's time to close that door and go somewhere else, because prior to that, you've been getting job interviews or job announcements and you need to apply. So when it's time for you to go, it's all said and done. But you have to understand when it's time to change and when it's time to go. And if you don't understand that, you sometimes get stuck for 20 and 30 years stuck in a job. Because I'm talking job wise now. Some people that's in the government system, they stay forever. And when you ask them, are you happy? They'll tell you, no, I'm not. But, this is a job I can come and go, ... A, B, C, D. And they're good with it. But they're not happy. It's two different things. For me, I've always been happy, but my spirit changed my walk. This experience changed me, and I had to accept the change. That's the main piece of anything that you do is change. Are you willing to change? With change comes some bumps in the road, and that's what people don't realize. Even with blessings, you get blessings, but it doesn't mean you sit on them. It's some work you got to do to keep those blessings coming in some cases, to make sure you're doing the right things. It's homework. It's not just sitting there and saying, oh, I crossed over, great. No, you have to put in some work. And so with this operation and this newness that I'm going through, and yes, I can be honest, I have good days and bad days. But that's part of the healing, but that's also part of the growth.
Mm.
And you got to know the difference.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. And I'm getting emotional just hearing you because I feel like you're speaking to me in this moment too. But you're so right because, and just to kind of backtrack a little bit, the difference between like being in an alignment with spirit and body, like that has to be together, because when you're not, then it throws you off track a little bit with purpose. And so when you talk about having to let go of things, and sometimes letting go means that, yeah, maybe it's not getting difficult in the moment. Maybe everything seems like it's flowing really well.
Yes.
But there's still a displacement there. There's still something that's not quite fitting. And you know that internally because you can feel it.
Yes.
And it's like it's reached its purpose, that, it's reached its season, in your life, and you've got to step out of it so that you can continue to flourish in the calling that you have placed on you, so that you can continue to elevate and do the miraculous things that are waiting for you to do, to step into doors that are waiting to be open, but they can't be open if you're still hanging out in the old place.
Yes.
That's what I'm receiving from what you're telling me. And I know it's speaking to me personally too.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you also have to make sure that your hands are free as well. Okay. A lot of people sometimes have so much in their hands and in their laps that the blessings just fall off the side and never get to them, because you haven't let go of what you need to. Because sometimes, someone told me, sometimes it's your identity. And so this piece has been my identity for so long that if I let go, what am I? Who am I? And for me, I've been doing Bible study for so long, over 28 years in some cases, dealing with the military, but been doing it even longer than that, that when you have to give up something to be in stillness, it's very powerful, because you have to be in stillness. You cannot be in the noise. You have to have that moment by yourself. And that's what makes women sometimes uncomfortable, because they lose themselves. They forget. It's almost like when you have a family and you have children and you give everything you can to that child. It's child, child, child. And then when the child leaves the house, it's you and your husband, and you all don't know each other, because you only poured into the child when you should have been pouring into you all. So it's almost like, I always tell people, it's Christ, husband, wife, children. Children never come before the wife. Children never come before the husband, and definitely not before Christ. If you know your order, then you understand it. And that can be difficult, because then people twist it around, but it's not about that. It's about making sure that everybody is in their place. So when things happen, they come together like this, not like they just don't come together. So that's the important piece of change, of pain, of everything. Is a lot of it plays identity, and they forget who they are, because without this scar that I wear down the middle of my chest, I don't hide it. I still wear my dresses, or however they are. I'm not trying to hide it with jewelry. Why? Because the scar itself really it's never bothered me, because we all have scars. So this scar doesn't make me or break me. It's nothing to me. I never rub my hand down it to be like, oh my God, I got this scar. That's never been even in my mind. The thing was that my main focus was to make sure I was strong enough to continue to teach the word of God, what I was supposed to do, to make sure I mentored to women, make sure I was there for other people, that if they needed me, I was available. At this time, God is saying, you're not available. I need you to close something down. Even when I'm fighting closing it down, I'm still going to be closing it down today, to be exact. And yes, I'm still struggling with it, but I have to be obedient so I can receive what I need to receive to grow. And that's no different from your spiritual walk, from being emotional, whatever it may be. You have to let go of some things when change comes. You can't be the same. You can't have change come in and you stay the same. Then change hasn't come in. When you want certain things to be done differently, and then when they are, you're so busy being the same, you won't see the blessings. You won't see where it's not anxiety anymore. You won't see the peace. You won't see the joy because you haven't, one, set boundaries where you protect that. In change, you protect. Before this operation, I was protecting my peace and joy. After the operation, I still protect my peace and joy even more because those things are very important to me. So you have to understand the change and want to change. If you don't, then open heart surgery and anything else, it's not going to matter to you because you'll be stuck in a circle when you are now a galaxy. And galaxies can't be in a circle, but you won't know that because you're still stuck here when you're supposed to be out there doing great things for other people. That's what
that is a huge nugget. I'm jumping in there. That is a huge nugget. You can't be asking for different things if you're not willing to do what needs to be done to release that energy and just to jump into that spirit that God has for you. Woo! I just wanted to capture that because that's a huge one, Franchetta. So, man, so what do you tell someone? I know that you're just like you're in the process of it. You're coming, through it yourself. But what do you tell someone that's back in the beginning of it, going, what am I going to do? This is hard. I don't know where to go. I'm trying to make a decision. What kind of advice do you give that person?
You have to first know your faith. That's the first thing. You have to have something. For me, it's Jesus Christ. I don't play with it. I don't mix it up. But you have to understand your spiritual side and your human side. They're not the same. And then you have to remember these two questions that I always ask my Bible studies ladies. Who do you trust and who do you put your trust in? It should be the same person. It should be Jesus. It shouldn't be your family, my husband, my aunt, and people go to humans. When you're going through this, what I went through, it's nobody in that room with you but one person. And you're walking on your faith. You are walking on your faith. If you say you believe him, this is going to be the time to test it. Only thing you can do is literally breathe. For me, my spiritual side was good. It was my human side we wasn't on the same page. But because I came to terms with what I needed to do, took the shower that morning, walked in, did what I needed to do. And there were some difficulties during my process. My operation was supposed to take maybe 3 hours. I was there till like 7:30 at night. I walked in at about 8:30 in the morning. I'll let that sit for a moment. So again, when you are going through whatever you are going through, it doesn't have to be open heart surgery. It can be life. It can be divorce. It can be getting married. You have to know what you're basing everything on, no matter what. What are you going off of? Are you going off of society, the world, or are you going off of your faith? And some people say, well, I don't have any faith. Everybody has something. I can't push my faith on you, but what I can tell you is that for me, because of it, I was able to go through this. And because I had a tribe, and my tribe started when I was 5 and 6 years old, of women who was around me. So I made sure I had wise women. You have to have some wisdom when you are walking through big changes or even little changes. And then you also just have to know that that is what it is. And it is a process that you cannot push. I can't push myself to be without pain no sooner than my body will tell me. If my body tells me right now, when you get off of this podcast, you're going to be in pain, guess what? I'm going to be in pain. And I'll do whatever I need to do, cry some tears, because that's all I can do, because it's no pain medicine for me at this point. No pain medicine helped for 4 months. That's straight pain. And the pain medicine they gave me, it didn't even help me at all. It didn't stop the pain. So you're talking 4 months, 5 months of pain. And it's probably 6 months for me. For 4 months of that, I was in straight pain. So I'm just now starting two months really of trying to heal, and I'm still healing. So you have to believe in yourself. You have to have positive people around you, and you have to protect your peace. For me, when I went through this, I didn't have no one around me. I had women praying for me. They could not come and see me. And the reason is because I had no time to hold them up. I had to hold my own self up. And you have to understand when you need to be in solitude by yourself. You can't, I couldn't hold them up. I couldn't tell them I was going to be okay. I couldn't tell them that when I was screaming at the top of my lungs some days of the pain of just everything. And so you have to believe in yourself. You have to have the right people around you, and you have to have boundaries, and you have to give yourself time to heal. True healing takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, 1 month or 2 months. Healing takes time. Don't rush it. Because when you rush healing, you miss those aha moments, which are learning tools for you to grow better, to reach those goals that you're going to reach once you are healed. This is a process of healing, of growing, of understanding, of grace, of mercy, of forgiveness. It's all of that when it comes to pain. Because when you do that, those words are for yourself. So when you look in the mirror, you're saying to yourself, I'm giving myself grace because I got so much pain. I'm forgiving myself because I'm so frustrated and I'm still hard on myself. I'm understanding. You give yourself those things. So you have to talk life into yourself. You have to talk life into yourself. That's not anybody else's responsibility. It is yours. When you look in the mirror, don't complain about I'm big, I'm this, I got short hair, I got this. Look in the mirror and say, thank you because I'm a masterpiece. How do I know? Because God said I was. How do I know that it's a God? Because I woke up this morning and 1,000 other people did not. So you got to know your blessings. You got to know your walk. You got to know your God. And you got to know when it is just Jesus. And if you can't believe in that and you have nothing, it's nothing I can say. It's nothing you can say. But you got to believe in yourself. When you look in the mirror, I don't see a scar. I still see a fantastic 4'11" lady weighing 167 pounds, gained 2 pounds. I'm still a badass military spouse. I'm a wife. I'm a mentor. I am an example, and I am a masterpiece with no mistakes on me. That's what you have to tell yourself. And I've been living that. So you kind of know me. I got a little spunk in me, just a little bit.
Woo, you had me on my toes, girl. I'm like, yes, amen, hallelujah, preach, preach, preach. Um, so much wisdom. And that's such good advice too, because you're right. It's nobody else's responsibility to lift you up. And I think when we can grasp that idea, then we're not looking for external gratification. We know that the only thing that can gratify us is going to be from within, because that's really what we're seeking. That hole that we're trying to fill all the time with relationships or material things or whatever it is that you're pouring into, that hole that continues to empty out at the bottom. It's never filled, because you have to do it for you. You've got to go in, you've got to do the inner work. You're not the only one that's come on this podcast to say that. So find your tribe, because that's also an important factor that you threw out there, is find your tribe. Find the people that are going to uplift you. Find the people that are going to want to walk with you through this journey, that maybe have already done the journey, that can hold you accountable, that can hold you to your goals, to that idea that you're trying to hit. You need that. It's not a sign of weakness if you're asking for help. It's a sign of strength. It's a sign of wisdom. It's a sign of intelligence, because you need that. Okay, Franchette. So as we kind of coming to the end of our conversation here, I do want to ask you a question of legacy and impact. So if today were your last day, what would you want to be remembered for?
Being someone that always gave fantastic hugs and made people feel loved, especially people I don't know, because I hug many people all the time. If I see them looking down, I just go up to them and I ask them how they're doing and I give them a hug. So I always want to be known as a person who gave love.
I love that. And it also brings to mind something that I've said before, but I'm going to say it again, is people don't ever remember what you did or what you said, but they definitely will remember how you make them feel.
Yes.
So that's another nugget out there for you guys that are listening, just FYI. So my final question to you, Franchetta, is if you could leave maybe one bit of truth or a word of encouragement to someone listening today who's trying to figure out their life purpose, what would it be?
That's a hard one. The first thing I would tell them is to believe in themselves. They have to like themselves before they do anything. So believe in yourself first, no matter what anyone tells you, mother, father, sister, brother. If you believe in yourself and write it down in a journal and pray about it, you can do it, because a lot of people have done that. You're not the only one thinking that way at all. So I don't do one sentences. I have to follow through with it. It's just my spiritual side. And you have to make sure you have a really good tribe with women that are wise. Not give good advice, but women who are wise. They live wisdom. You can look at them and know that they're wise. Not that they say it. It's their movement. It's their lifestyle. It's a part of them. That's what I would tell them.
Well, Franchetta, if somebody wants to get in contact with you outside of this podcast, how can they do so?
They can follow me on Instagram, Franchetta_Dyer or Franchette Dyer. You'll see my picture out there. And Vetech Business. But if they want to reach out to me, I'm more than happy to have a conversation with them.
Wonderful. Well, I want to say thank you again, Franchetta, for sharing your heart, your story, and your light with us today. Conversations like this remind us that purpose isn't about perfection. It's about showing up and growing through the things we go through, understanding that every step matters. Here at the Good Morning Minute and through the Empower Her Steps movement, we believe every woman has a calling worth discovering and a voice worth using. So friend, wherever you are today, remember your purpose is powerful and you're not walking alone. So until next time, keep rising, keep trusting, keep walking boldly into the life God has designed for you. I'm Angelina Mojica, your life coach, sending you much love, much peace, many blessings.